How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which was down 0.47% on the Friday. So it was slightly red, but of course I want to make sure you guys are prepared going into Monday. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, we want to know what it looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $19.21, being down 0.47%. On the low, it tested $18.77. And then on the high, testing $19.87. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 50.117 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 21.983 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, but we've seen a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 54. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here, we're below the 200-day, but we are above the 21-day EMA and as well as the 50-day moving average. And this is a really good sign. And why is that? Because the 50-day moving average has continued to serve as an area of resistance, but not anymore. So for this coming week from Lucid, I want to see a move above $20. We were able to form a higher high from the previous trading day, so that is one thing to keep in mind. So once we break above 1987, let's get that move to that psychological area at $20. The next area of resistance you'd want to keep an eye on when it gets to $20 is around $20.70. If we could break above this level, you guys know we want to keep a very close eye on $22.50. If Lucid could reclaim this level, it can get very, very interesting. If we decide to have a pullback, or maybe we continue to have some consolidation, as long as we stay above that 50-day moving average, I think we are completely fine. And right now that is set at $18.48, and we saw a low of $18.77. So we just want to make sure price action stays above this level, because this will show us that the stock will continue to have strength. If it does decide to break through these levels in regards to the 50-day and as well as the 21-day EMA, then we just want support to hold up right here at $17.51 or $17.51. So let's see how it performs going into Monday. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings we have here for the 24th, we have Fidelity that went in with 35,256 shares. We also have Fidelity Zero that went in with 164,649 shares. And we also see Fidelity Zero Large Cap that purchased 82,069 shares. So it's great to see Fidelity loading up. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 55.71%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4.26 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated just now, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 15.68%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 23rd, it was at 48.94, and then for the close of the 24th, it was at 55.71. So that is a significant increase right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 22.55%, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow it's at 57.71 million, and then on the outflow it's at 63.58 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 8.03 million, on the medium it was 27.48 million, and then on the small it was at 22.20 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 9.11 million. On the medium, it was 30.45 million. And then on the small, it was 24.02 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for June the 24th, we had that outflow day of negative 1.07 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you can see that we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then for the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 3%. So this is higher than usual for Lucid. We're used to it being in the 1% range. But we also have to keep in mind they had recent additions into the Russell. So there is some profit taking that is going on. It has ran up quite a bit. So what's going on is very natural. I'll talk about it further in the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, we are still looking strong despite the fact we had a slight red day. The reason behind this is we are still above the 21-day EMA and as well as the 50-day moving average. Plus on top of that, for the low of the day, we still stayed above the 50-day moving average. So again, what we want to see from here is some consolidation and getting ready for the next move up. If you're not aware of that, we know that $20 is a psychological area. We also did form a higher high on the Friday as well. So if we can get that break above $20, that would be really good for this stock. And then the next resistance that we would see around that level is around $20.70. And of course, we want to see Lucid getting to $22.50 because I feel at that level, things can get very, very interesting. For this stock to start looking weak, then of course, it would have to have a pullback and fall below $17.50 because if it does come down to that level, that's where I could see it going down to $16 and so on. But for the most part, like I was saying, we have the 21-day EMA that's already crossed above the 50-day moving average. Things are looking good. As long as we can hold up that $18 range, I think we should be fine. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see Fidelity has been loading up on shares. And when we took a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. And we have even more shorts who are vested in this play as well. But like I was saying, since Lucid is in the NASDAQ 100, as long as we see the market continuing to trend up, Lucid will follow along with it. And even though it did have a red day on the Friday while the market was bouncing up, I have no issues with this whatsoever. It has been on quite the run. We have to admit that. So we can't be naive and we can't be biased saying, well, you know what? It was a bad day for Lucid just because it didn't move up alongside with the market. If the market continues trending up, like I said, I know I sound like a broken record. That's where I want to see us being comfortable trading above $20. But can this level hold? Again, there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of fear inside of these markets. Don't forget, we are still in a bear market. But one thing that we cannot ignore, it doesn't mean that there's not opportunities out there for traders to take advantage to moves to the upside and as well as for the downside when it does present itself. And for all of my investors out there, I know what you were saying. I think I got a question on my last video saying, Dre, so why are you telling us to wait on the sidelines? I'm not allowed to give you guys financial advice, but I can give you my opinion. At these current levels, I would not be buying Lucid stock whatsoever. Again, there's so many uncertainties and I can see a pullback coming in the market. And as far as this recent rally, I'm just not convinced that the market is ready to start making its moves back to all-time highs. Let's be realistic here. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into Monday. We'll talk soon.